I'm Jim Ryan, the Executive Director of the Colorado Council of Churches. One of the things we often hear people say about the issue of immigration is, what is it about illegal you don't understand? It seems to me, as people of faith, the question that ought to be for us, what is it about love your neighbor you don't understand? As people of faith, we come at this issue not just from a civic position, putting on that civic hat. Rather, we come at it from a faith perspective, and we look through the lens of the gospel to understand what Jesus means when he says to each of us and calls us as his followers to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Our neighbors are those who are all around us, and in that story of the Good Samaritan, we know that it is the Samaritan who's the one who loves. Remember that Jesus tells this story when answering the question about who is my neighbor. And at the end of the story, basically what Jesus is saying, if you have to ask who's your neighbor, then your neighborhood is too small. So as we deal with this issue of immigration, and particularly through the faith perspective, we deal with how can we love our neighbor, how can we respect. We do not take a stand at the Colorado Council of Churches on what we should do about raids or what we should do about families or a lot of issues. What we do is say, you consider what Jesus means when he says love your neighbor, and then you come up with your own position on, is raids a good thing for families and loving neighbors, or is it not? Does it work with the gospel, or does it not? Does it stand in opposition to the gospel? And as people of faith, we're called to be on the side of the gospel. So that's what we're doing in Colorado. We've created a 4-Sunday DVD Sunday school curriculum about immigration from the faith perspective, asking people to say, okay, put on your civic hat, sure. We got to deal with borders. We have to understand these issues. But you must also, from a faith perspective, deal with what does it mean to love your neighbor? Bringing those two into tension, and then developing what your position is going to be, what the call of the gospel actually means to you. We've also asked each of our political leaders to sign a commitment of respect that as they talk about the issue of immigration, they will recognize the sacred humanity of every human being and about those people about whom they are speaking as they discuss immigration, and with people with whom they may disagree, recognizing the sacred humanity of the other. We've also sent out letters to our congregations inviting them, signed by all our denominational executives, to work on this issue, to discuss it within the faith community from that gospel perspective. So I'm about to make a New Year's resolution. And my resolution is going to be to continue to work with most congregations to making sure that this is an issue that from a faith perspective that we can deal with, and we can deal with it in a civil and loving kind of way. Not only with those folks who are here and we must decide how to treat our neighbor, but also with our neighbor in the pew, with whom we may agree or with whom we may disagree on this, and how do we love those with whom we disagree. That's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to also call my legislators and my congresspeople to let them know that we in the Colorado Council of Churches, the people of faith in Colorado, want them to deal in a very positive, effective way that's going to help us as Americans to love our neighbors and to be people of faith. Thanks. And I invite you to join in your own New Year's resolution.